Inside the Lizzie Borden house, specifically the Abby and Andrew suite, a location already known for its haunted reputation, an investigator named Kyle is exploring on his own. As he tries to enter the suite, the door repeatedly locks on him despite there being no one inside. The resistance alone is strange, but what waits beyond is worse. When he finally starts recording and manages to get in, the entire room is lit in an intense red glow, giving everything an unnatural, heavy atmosphere as he slowly moves through the space.
Trying to enter the Abby and Andrew suite at the Lizzie Borden house. The door locked on me with no one in there. This is really terrifying.
At one point, a door inside the suite closes by itself, with no one near it. Another detail investigators point out is how the camera suddenly goes out of focus right as he enters, something often considered a sign that it may be trying to focus on something not visible to the eye. Between the locking door, the shifting focus, and movement happening on its own, the suite feels less like an empty room and more like a space already occupied by something unseen. In the same house, but at a different time, another moment was captured that made the activity feel even more deliberate. Ahead of the camera was a doorway, and the door itself began sliding back and forth on its own, slowly moving just enough to reveal the terrifying doll that was inside the room, then drifting back to hide it again, over and over, like something unseen was controlling the exact moment of exposure. The motion was smooth and controlled, not like it was swinging from a draft, but gliding in a way that felt intentional.
This is happening again. I will show you no one is there.
After repeating this several times, the door suddenly stopped moving altogether. The stillness that followed felt heavier than the motion itself. Kyle decided he had seen enough. He stepped out of the room and kicked the nearby doll far down the hall, putting distance between himself and the space, leaving the house with even more questions about what might be sharing it with visitors. Another moment from the same location adds even more to the tension inside the house. In a separate clip, a wooden door can be seen trying to open on its own, quickly pulling inward, except the metal chain lock is the only thing stopping it from fully opening. The pressure on the door looks constant, like something on the other side is testing it, pushing just enough to make the chain tighten and rattle.
This place is so haunted. Locked. Bathroom empty. Help!
Not long after, Kyle attempts to enter a different room, but the door resists him, pushing back as if someone unseen is holding it shut from the other side. He tries again, confused and uneasy, but the resistance doesn't change, making it feel less like a stuck door and more like something actively keeping him out. The combination of doors moving on their own and spaces refusing entry is enough for him. Kyle leaves the house shortly after, clearly disturbed, with the feeling that whatever is inside doesn't just exist there, it controls who is allowed in. Antonio was inside his house when something small but deeply unsettling happened right in front of him. A toy bicycle, the kind you'd expect a child to ride, suddenly began gliding across the floor on its own, rolling smoothly from one room into an adjacent one, with no one near it. The movement wasn't jerky or accidental, it was steady and direct, like it had a destination. The quiet of the house only made it worse, the wheels faintly echoing as it crossed the floor. The detail that makes the moment even more disturbing is what that toy represents. There are children in the home. Luckily, none of them were there at the time, which makes the situation feel less like a coincidence and more like something happened when the house was at its most vulnerable. Antonio is left staring after it, realizing this wasn't just an object moving, it was something choosing to move it. The next day, Antonio was trying to have a number 2 in peace when the activity followed him again. Sitting in the bathroom, already on edge after what happened with the toy bicycle, he noticed the door ahead of him slowly creak open on its own. He froze, staring at it, when it suddenly slammed shut. A few seconds later, it opened again and slammed a second time, louder, more aggressive. After a short pause, the pattern continued, the door opening slightly, then slamming with force, over and over, like something was toying with the timing. There was no draft, no one else in the house, and no logical reason for the movement to repeat so consistently. The sound echoed through the hallway each time, making the small bathroom feel even more enclosed. Antonio was left sitting there, unable to ignore the fact that whatever had moved the toy the day before now seemed to be following him from room to room. With no further updates, we have no idea how safe Antonio currently is, so we can only hope and pray. A group of friends were spending time together at a forest park, casually messing around while 3 of them helped one of their daughters on a swing. It seemed like a normal, light-hearted moment. Laughter, movement, nothing out of the ordinary. Their focus stayed on the child, making sure she was safe and having fun, and none of them paid attention to what was happening behind them.
Gente, denle despacito, no me la vayan a mandar al árbol arriba. No bajen los pies. Ahí era la buena.
No bajen los pies.
Oh, no, no. ¿Cómo se la apura, güey?
Es que está bien flaquillo ese bastón.
No, y parece que se levanta como... Se toca ña. Así se fue bien derechita. Yo no fui a Río Lalo. El último sigue Brian porque dice que no dice nada.
In the background, partially hidden between the trees, a strange and deeply uncanny figure could be seen moving through the woods. Its shape was vaguely human, but the way it moved was wrong, too stiff in some moments, too fluid in others, making it look unnatural. It lingered only briefly before slipping out of frame, unnoticed by everyone there. When viewers later spotted it in the footage, the moment changed from wholesome to disturbing, because whatever that was, it did not look like a normal person just passing through the forest. A woman was out walking along a trail she usually takes when she noticed something sitting off to the side of the path. It was a camera, partially hidden but clearly placed there, and when she picked it up, she saw what looked like dried blood on the casing. The discovery immediately made the situation feel serious, but one detail stood out even more. The camera still had battery left, which meant there could be footage saved on it. She was unsure what she might find if she turned it on, the quiet trail suddenly feeling very different than it had minutes before.
You're not gonna believe this. I just found a camera out here with something that looks like it could be blood on it. I have no idea, but I think there's still some battery on it, so there could be some footage on here. Should I look at it?
Instead of checking it right away, she asked viewers whether she should look through the footage at all, knowing whatever was on there could explain why it was left there, or make the situation far more disturbing than it already seemed. She eventually decided to share what was on the camera, posting the footage for others to see. The video begins with a slow 360 view of the forest, the lens turning steadily, capturing the quiet trees and empty trail from every angle. At first, nothing seems out of place, just still woods and distant shadows between the branches. During the rotation, a black figure can briefly be seen standing among the trees before quickly slipping behind one, disappearing from view as if it knew it had been caught on camera. The movement is subtle but undeniable, something solid enough to block the light, yet too dark and undefined to make out clearly. Some believe this figure could explain the blood on the camera, but there is no proof, no context, and no way to know what really happened out there, leaving only the footage and a lot of unanswered questions. Darwin and two of his friends were exploring an abandoned building that locals had warned them about for years, a place with a reputation for unexplained activity and people leaving early out of fear. They were filming casually at first, laughing it off until the mood shifted fast.
¿Ya está grabando? Ya vamos. ¿Estamos activos? ¿Pilosos?
Por si acaso voy a sonar. Oye, suenan unos tacos, marico. Oye, suenan unos tacos, loco. Aguanta, mira, mira. Aguanta. Que ya se detuvieron. Verga, ¿sí escuchaste? Sí, chucha. ¿Escuchaste? No son los tacos de ese día del baño. Aguanta, aguanta. No sé. Hijo de puta. Mira, marico. Parece que hay algo arriba. Mira los tacos otra vez. Sí, espera. Vámonos, que chucha, vamos a ver. Déjame llevar una piedra por si me tiene un piedrazo, loco.
Oye, pero ¿y si es una verga, güey?
Ah.
Bueno, si es un fantasma, no una verga, ¿cómo es eso?
No, no se debe botar la escalera abajo.
¿Qué chucha es eso, güey?
Suena como que botea también una güey.
Sí, güey. Andy. Ven.
Ven, güey, ven. Pero, por si acaso tiene algo malo, loco. Aguanta, mira, suena. Sí, es bautizado, güey.
Sí, creo.
Quiere quedarlo amarrado, loco.
Oye, se están culeando al lado.
Oye, no digas eso, es que ese video van a ver todos en común.
Oye, no jodas. No jodas.
No importa si le metimos. Oye, ¿dónde que están golpeando alguna casa, loco?
Oye, pero al lado no hay nadie, tú eres loco.
¿Escuchaste?
No, Malvin, escuché. Pero no hay nadie al lado, pues cómo van a estar golpeando.
Claro, si acaso es vacío. Ven.
Espérate.
¿Escuchaste?
Sí. ¿Qué carajo es eso?
Mira, como mi cuarto de acá.
¿De cuál está?
De este cuarto. Y solo estamos los dos. Ven. Entra vos primero, güey.
No, tú eres loco, güey.
Entra vos primero, loco. Deja ver si no hay nada en este cuarto. No hay nada. Ya se cayó, ya se fue, creo. ¡Uy! ¡Oye, cállate! No grites. Oye, mira, la puerta está abierta. Escuchamos que cerró una puerta, ¿te acuerdas? Deja ver si me cerraron la puerta de acá atrás. Oye, suena como que siguen caminando por arriba. Vamos. Qué vergo, y si nos sonaron el Mario. Oye, suena como que si alguien caminara, pero no se ve nada. Está todo. Oye, mira, mira. Esa puerta, mira, 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 mira. Esa puerta estaba abierta cuando vinimos, ¿te acuerdas? Ay, marico, ¿me escuchaste? Qué bien. Ay, dile que traiga el perro, Andy. Ay, viene de ahí, loco, y si alguien está ahí.
Oye, fantasma, digo, gay.
Fulín, le hice este man. Haz silencio, Haz silencio, no me gritas, ¿verdad? No serás como loco. Verás que tú gritas me putean a mí, me botan del trabajo. Oye, ¿quién golpea, Oye, no hay nadie. No hay nadie, marico. No hay nadie. Aguanta, aguanta, suena por aquí algo.
Oye.
Ven, 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 ven. ¿Se escuchas? ¿Qué? Oye, hay algo en ese closet, marico.
Sí,
Aquí. Y yo no voy a abrir el closet. Puta que me sale alguna pendejada.
From somewhere above them, clear footsteps echoed down the stairwell, heavy enough that all three froze and went silent. Then came a sound that didn't make sense, like a rush of wind, but distorted, almost shaped, as if it was being pushed through the building by something alive. More footsteps followed upstairs, pacing back and forth. One of the group tried to stay calm and slowly started climbing the stairs, the others close behind, their flashlights shaking. When they reached the top floor, the footsteps didn't stop. They moved deeper into the darkness ahead of them. As they stepped fully onto the floor, a burst of unsettling, almost demonic laughter rang out, sharp and close enough to make them recoil. A door somewhere nearby suddenly slammed shut, and panic took over as they sprinted out of the building, gasping for air. After a few minutes, they worked up the courage to go back inside, convinced adrenaline had gotten the better of them. But the moment they re-entered, the footsteps started again, just as loud as before. They climbed the stairs one more time, filming everything, but there was still nothing visible. Then a strange voice-like sound echoed through the hall, almost forming the words, "Help me." Seconds later, a door ahead of them slowly creaked open by itself, stopping just a few inches wide. That was enough. Whatever was in that building clearly didn't want them there, and it made sure they knew it. Late at night on the 23rd of April, 2022, at 11 p.m., a man was unwinding in his quiet house, talking to his dogs the way people do when the calm feels too still. The place had that soft nighttime hush, where every small sound seemed louder and the dogs were relaxed beside him, without a hint of concern. He kept chatting with them, feeling comfort in their presence and the familiar routine, when something subtle but unmistakably out of place shifted behind him. Clip. One of the chairs at the dinner table leaned back on its own. One of the chairs at the dinner table leaned back on its own, as if someone invisible had pushed off from the floor, then slowly settled back onto all fours again like nothing had happened. His dogs froze, their ears lifting slightly, but they didn't bark, almost like they sensed something, but chose to stay quiet. The man felt that strange tightening in his chest, the kind that comes when you know you witnessed something you can't explain, but your mind tries to rationalize anyway. There were no drafts, no pets near the dining area, no one else in the house. The moment left him wondering if something unseen had been sitting there all along, listening just as closely as the dogs were. Chris tried to shake off the memory of the chair moving on its own, but a few nights later, his wife mentioned she had been hearing scratching noises coming from their bedroom, the kind that made her feel watched, even when the lights were on. Wanting to prove nothing was wrong, he grabbed his phone and switched to the handheld camera, recording from inside of their bedroom.
But wifey said she'd been hearing scratching noises, or like, she said it sounded like something was in the wall in our room. So I'm gonna take a shower, change my clothes, get in some PJs, and we're gonna go, I guess, sit in the middle of the hallway till we hear something and see what we got. Right now it's 6:52 p.m. Yeah, give me a minute. I'm exhausted too. If I fall asleep, I apologize, but we'll check it out.
A couple of faint orbs drifted across the camera lens, and then those strange little taps echoed from the far wall, spaced out just enough to sound deliberate. He took a few careful steps forward, trying to figure out where the scratching had come from, when the door behind him gave a slow creak. He turned in time to watch it inch toward the frame as if pulled by something steady and unseen. Then it clicked shut completely on its own. Sitting there with only his phone and the sound of his own breathing, Chris felt the same familiar dread creep up his spine, the kind that told him whatever was in their house had finally decided to make itself properly known. In the following video, CCTV footage from a young girl's bedroom captured something that immediately felt off, even before anything visibly happened. The room was quiet and perfectly still, the kind of silence you only get when everyone else in the house is asleep. A small bucket sat tucked against the wall, where it always stayed, untouched for days, and nothing seemed unusual until the camera picked up a faint flicker near the dresser. Without anyone in the room, the bucket suddenly tipped onto its side, then rolled with a slow, deliberate movement straight toward the middle of the floor, as if guided by an unseen force. A couple of soft orbs drifted across the camera, then another passed through the frame, each one subtle but unmistakable against the dark background. There were no pets running around, no vibrations on the floor, no reason for anything to move at all. The bucket eventually stopped in a spot it had never been before, and the room fell still again, like whatever caused it had finished making its point. Watching it back, it felt less like a random accident, and more like something inside the room was trying to draw attention, leaving behind a quiet question the footage couldn't answer. CCTV footage from the kitchen in the same house showed a late quiet hour, the kind where every shadow sits still, and nothing should be moving on its own. After the strange activity in the girl's room, the family had moved her doll onto a high shelf in the kitchen, hoping to keep it out of the way while they tried to figure out what was going on. The room looked normal in the video, but there was an odd heaviness to the frame, like the space was waiting for something to happen. Without anyone nearby, the doll suddenly tipped forward and slipped from the shelf, falling straight to the floor in a way that didn't look accidental or nudged by any draft. The impact made a muted thud, and for a moment nothing else stirred. The shelf was sturdy, the doll balanced carefully earlier that day, and there was no reason it should have moved at all. Watching the footage back, the fall felt intentional, like whatever had rolled the bucket earlier wasn't confined to just one room and had followed the object into the kitchen to make its presence known again. Late that night, their baby monitor picked up more than just the soft breathing of their other child, showing a dimly lit room that should have been still and safe. The parents had been debating whether to move both kids back into the same room after everything that had been happening, hoping it might make them feel more secure, but the monitor ended up capturing something that pushed that decision into question. An orb drifted across the camera in a slow, floating line, and before either parent could react, the bedroom door eased open by itself, as if someone on the other side had quietly pushed it wide. The baby didn't stir, but the audio picked up a strange mix of noises that didn't belong to a child at all. Soft, irregular sounds that seemed to come from different corners of the room instead of the crib. For a moment, the monitor felt like a window into something they weren't supposed to see. The kind of activity that made every instinct tell them the house wasn't calming down, but escalating. Knowing their child was sleeping peacefully, while the room around them shifted and whispered on its own, made the parents rethink everything, wondering if putting both kids together would really keep them safer, or just expose them both to whatever was moving through the halls at night. After everything that had happened, the parents finally decided it wasn't worth the risk anymore and moved both kids out of their rooms for the night, letting everyone sleep together just to feel a little safer. The house felt different once the bedrooms were empty, quieter in a way that didn't feel comforting, almost like whatever had been causing all the activity was waiting to see what they would do next. They left the doll in their daughter's room from the first clip, partly because they didn't want it near the kids, and partly because they wanted to know if anything else would happen without anyone inside. The CCTV footage showed a close-up shot of the doll, which had been placed upright on a small chair, as it suddenly toppled forward and fell to the floor again, with no one around and no movement anywhere else. It didn't slide or wobble first, it just dropped, like it had been pushed or yanked by something unseen. The chair stayed perfectly steady, the air didn't shift, and after the doll hit the ground, the room went back to being completely silent. That clip ended up being the last strange thing they ever caught on camera, leaving them with the unsettling feeling that the activity had reached its peak and then simply stopped, as if whatever was behind it had finally gotten whatever reaction it wanted. At the Jefferson Palace Hotel, a man working late claimed that a giant decorative candle had been sitting right in the way of a pool player earlier that evening, so he and a co-worker moved it to another spot just to keep the area clear. The night wind was quiet, the lobby mostly empty, and everything felt normal, except for the small mistake they didn't notice until later. They had accidentally left the front door unlocked. Hours after closing, they returned to check on something and found the candle lying on the ground, even though no one else was supposed to be inside.
Video of something that happened earlier today. So this candelabra, this big giant one right here, was in the way of one of the pool players last night. So they moved it. It's not the lightest thing to move, but they moved it in front of this door. Well, this door usually stays locked throughout the night. But what happened is we left it unlocked. And when I came in the next day, this candelabra was on the ground right here. Now, we do have a camera right here, but you're not going to see what happened on that camera. The other camera is actually way over here in our ballroom area, aimed through here, and we caught this on camera. I thought someone tried to open the door and to get in, and they knocked the candlestick over and then shut it. Well, I go back and look at the footage, and the door actually opened by itself, which could be explained by wind, but it then shut by itself, which is not explainable by wind. So let me show you. First off, you can open this door, and it has a little stop to it. So it doesn't open, first off, by itself easily. Next, if it hits the base of this, it would take a lot to move this. Now, if it did hit the arm up here, it could still fall over, but it would take a whole lot for it to fall over. Well, let me show you. Let me open the door and show you. I can open the door all the way, and it does not shut by itself. Matter of fact, it opens like that. So the footage you're going to see, you'll notice nobody walks by. You can actually see somebody walk by prior to the footage. You see the shadows there and in that window, but this footage, you'll see nobody walks by, door opens by itself, and then the door shuts by itself. So again, I can't really say it's anything paranormal, but definitely not explainable by wind. Let me show you the footage. Okay, so here's the footage. This is in the ballroom area. So I have to zoom way in. You'll hear some music playing in the background because we have some music playing, ambient music. But you'll notice the door at the very top of your screen. In a second, you're going to see somebody walk by. Right there. So there's a shadow of somebody walking by. So when I saw the candlestick on the ground, I figured someone tried to get in or, and accidentally knocked it over. But that's not the case. So I'm going to go to about 25 seconds and you'll see the door open and the candlestick fall.
You can tell nobody's there. And now the door shuts. So kind of weird because you notice in the previous video, and I've done a lot of debunking on my videos, but the door doesn't shut by itself. It was not one of those deals where it's like a vacuum with the air conditioning or anything like that. Again, I can't say it's anything paranormal, but can't explain it. So let's watch it again. So we'll just chalk it off to a weird event, and I've never been able to recreate it, but just wanted to show everybody kind of what we capture in this area.
Wondering if someone had tried to break in, they pulled up the CCTV and the man started explaining all the ways the heavy front door couldn't possibly shut on its own, pointing out the weight of the hinges, the way it sticks, and how it takes a firm push to move at all. Then he showed the footage. The door into the establishment slowly eased itself open, like someone invisible had slipped in. Then after a few seconds it closed again with the same steady movement, sealing completely without anyone touching it. The candle's fall suddenly didn't look like an accident, and the unlocked door felt less like a mistake and more like an invitation something had quietly accepted. Later that night in the Jefferson Palace Hotel, one of the staff members was making his rounds through the long hallways, sorting out linens and checking that everything was ready for the morning shift. The halls were usually peaceful at that hour, filled only with the quiet hum of the building and the soft shuffle of his footsteps, and nothing about the routine felt unusual until he reached the far end where the lights always seemed a little dimmer. He paused to adjust something when something caught his attention at the edge of the frame on the security feed he carried with him. A door beside him eased itself open with a slow, careful movement, stopping just wide enough to suggest someone might step out. Then after a moment it swung shut again without anyone touching it. The staff member stood frozen for a second, staring at the door that had settled back into place like nothing had happened, and the silence afterward felt heavier than before. There were no guests in that wing, no draft strong enough to move anything, and the door had always been known for sticking, not swaying. The moment left him with the uneasy sense that whatever had wandered through the front entrance earlier hadn't stayed in the lobby, but had drifted deeper into the hotel, watching from behind doors that shouldn't have been moving at all. A man named Chavez claimed he'd been hearing faint scraping sounds coming from his living room, and was convinced his toy cars had been moving on their own while he wasn't looking. Half asleep and clearly nervous, he grabbed his phone and started recording to see if he could finally prove it.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley. Or an exorcist. I don't fucking know. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There ain't no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on her. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Hasn't thrown it.
In the footage, the room is completely still at first, the toy car sitting alone on the floor with nothing near it. Then, without Chavez touching it or even getting close, the car suddenly jerks forward in short, uneven bursts, stopping and starting as if something invisible is nudging it along. Chavez can be heard breathing heavier as he watches it move, clearly not expecting it to actually happen on camera. He doesn't interfere or try to test it, instead keeping his distance while filming. After a few seconds, the car comes to a stop right in the middle of the room and doesn't move again. Chavez leaves it exactly where it is and backs away, ending the clip shaken. According to him, this whole situation scares him enough to make him sleep outside. For the next few days, Chavez refused to touch the toy at all and told his wife Elizabeth not to move it either, hoping whatever happened was a one-time thing. But 2 nights later, he woke up with that same uneasy feeling and immediately started filming again.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like... So, what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you friendly?
We're moving.
I don't think it's, like, irritated. I fell asleep out here, and I promise you she didn't place it there. Last night, I blessed this cup before I went to bed. So, we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna have Elizabeth hold the phone. Okay, so, in Jesus' name, power of Christ compels you, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't think it's evil, man. You know, because it'd be like, ah, weed. Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
He quietly wakes Elizabeth and their daughter, bringing them into the room so they can all see it together. The toy car is still sitting exactly where it stopped days earlier, untouched. As they're watching, it suddenly rolls forward again on its own, slowly this time, right in front of all 3 of them. Elizabeth gasps, and before anyone can even react, a completely different toy nearby starts moving too, sliding across the floor in the same unnatural way. That's when Chavez completely loses his composure. He begins speaking out loud, using religious words and prayers, demanding whatever is there to leave their home. The toys don't respond, they just stop moving, as if they're listening. The clip ends shortly after, with Chavez saying they're moving out as soon as possible. He later claimed the activity didn't stop, but this was the last time he was willing to film it, unsure if what he said actually worked or just made things worse. Sleeping can be hard sometimes, especially when you suffer like the man in our following video, who claims his nights have been getting worse for reasons he can't explain. He starts recording from his bed after noticing strange orbs drifting across his camera in the darkness, slowly floating in and out of frame like something is lingering in the room with him.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, Raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, Raza. Ay.
As he lies there watching, the door to his bedroom suddenly begins to rattle violently, the handle shaking as if someone on the other side is trying to get in. He hesitates for a moment before finally getting out of bed and opening it, expecting to find someone standing there, but the room is completely empty. Before he can even process that, a small table inside the room suddenly tips over on its own, crashing to the floor without being touched. Panicked, he backs away and retreats to his bed, breathing hard and keeping the camera on a mirror. That's when it gets worse. The door starts knocking repeatedly, fast and deliberate, like someone is pounding to be let in. Each knock echoes through the room while he stays frozen in place, too scared to move. Whatever was making those sounds clearly didn't want him sleeping peacefully that night, and it wasn't done yet. An hour later, after sitting in silence trying to convince himself it was over, he decides to start filming again. this time forcing himself to be brave. He turns the camera back on inside his bedroom, whispering that he wants proof and that he isn't running anymore.
Es la 1 de la mañana, acaban de prender la luz de la sala. Desde que compré ese espejo están pasando todas las cosas raras. A la madre. ¿Qué fue eso? Eso se está saliendo de control ya.
Almost immediately, something horrifying happens. In the doorway ahead of him, a black, head-shaped figure slowly peeks around the corner, just enough for its outline to be clearly visible. The moment he reacts, it snaps back out of sight, hiding again, as if it knows it's been seen. Shaken but determined, he leaves the room and begins checking the rest of the apartment, moving through the hallway, the living room, and the kitchen, showing every corner as proof that no one else is there. Every light is off, every door is empty, and there's nowhere a person could be hiding. When he returns to the bedroom, the doorway is clear again, but the feeling hasn't gone away. Whatever peeked at him wasn't physical, wasn't accidental, and wasn't trying very hard to stay hidden. After everything that happened earlier, this moment convinced him that something was sharing the apartment with him and watching him when he thought he was alone. A woman staying alone in a Lake District hotel room decided to start filming after a series of strange noises echoed through the building late at night. She had been getting ready to go out when the sounds began, dull bangs mixed with faint whispering that seemed to travel through the walls. At first she brushed it off as other guests, but the corridors outside were silent. Uneasy, she turned her camera toward the bedroom and started calling out, asking if anyone was there.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Hello?
The room is almost completely dark as she films, her voice shaky, while the whispers seem to fade in and out. Trying to prove to herself it was nothing, she steps out into the hotel corridor, panning the camera left and right to show it is completely empty. No footsteps, no voices, no doors open. But just as she stands there, frozen, a sharp knock comes from inside her room behind her. Then another. Whatever had been whispering earlier was clearly still inside. The clip ends without her going back in, and she later explains she left the hotel shortly after, choosing to spend the rest of the night elsewhere, rather than stay alone with whatever was knocking from inside her room. The Bearded Explorer, a well-known urban explorer with over 250,000 subscribers, was filming a walkthrough of an abandoned facility he'd explored before without any issues. Confident and calm, he was narrating as he moved down a long corridor, after explaining the history of the place, when something suddenly changed.
Starting to be some really weird stuff in here.
a sharp noise echoes from extremely close to him, close enough that he immediately panics and backs up, breathing faster as he fumbles to grab his camera properly. The moment he lifts it and turns back down the corridor, the reason becomes clear. At the far end, barely lit and almost blending into the darkness, a strange human-shaped figure is standing completely still. It doesn't move toward him, but it doesn't disappear either. The second he notices it, all composure is gone. He turns and runs, faster than at any point in his channel's history, his breathing frantic. After escaping the building, he later admitted he couldn't explain what he saw and refused to return to that location. For someone as experienced as him to react like that, it left viewers convinced whatever was in that corridor wasn't just another shadow. Christopher and a few friends were exploring their abandoned elementary school late in the evening, filming as they moved from room to room, joking nervously about how eerie the place felt after dark. The building had been shut down for years, and they were confident nobody else was inside with them.
والله طفى تلفون شيء والله بتشحن فل طفى الحمد لله على البال لا يبغى تعرف مش حنبطل تلفوني طفى ولا كعب على اللي ما يدي التلفون انتو شو مخليني اخر واحد الرجال ماسك هذا لا تعال حمام صبيان حمام صبيان
As Christopher slowly pans the camera across one of the classrooms, everything seems normal at first, just peeling posters and dusty floors. But for a split second mid-pan, something appears in the frame that none of them notice at the time. A small, childlike figure is standing near the middle of the room, partially obscured, and watching them. It's only there for a moment before the camera moves past it, making it easy to miss, unless you slow the footage down. When viewers later pointed it out, the group were horrified. There was no way a child could have been in the building, and the figure didn't match any of their silhouettes or movements. The proportions were wrong, the posture was unnatural, and no one remembered seeing anything in that spot. What makes it even more unsettling is where it appeared, inside a school meant for children, long abandoned and silent. Whatever that figure was, it clearly wasn't supposed to be there, and it seemed to be watching them just as closely as they were exploring the building. This next clip brings us back to Ian, a Midwest ghost hunter some of you might already recognize. But for anyone new here, he's been documenting his investigation inside the same abandoned factory, where activity has been escalating with every visit. This moment happens much later into the night.
Okay, I am not liking this. Who's there? It's like a kitchen. Severed foot. severed hand. Thank God these are just props. Otherwise I'd have to call the police. Jesus. Feels like I'm in Ed Gein's house right now. Anyone in here? Sounded like something in there. If there's anyone in there, could you peek out from this doorway? Man, I get a creepy feeling looking in there. What the f was that? Something just went flying. Holy sh! Holy sh! Holy sh!
Without warning, the severed hand prop flies off the table as if it were grabbed by an unseen force.
Who just threw that? They threw something off the table.
Ian pauses in one of the darker sections of the factory and asks out loud if whatever is there was summoned to this place, rather than being trapped in it. Almost immediately, faint but distinct banging sounds echo from somewhere deeper in the building, spaced out and distant, like a response rather than random noise. He follows the sound carefully, moving through narrow corridors until he ends up in what looks like an old kitchen area that shouldn't feel as unsettling as it does. On one of the tables are severed foot and hand props, which Ian initially assumes were left behind from filming or some kind of staged setup. But as he scans the room, another unexplained noise comes from a nearby space, and his tone shifts completely. He steps closer, visibly uneasy, focusing on the table again when, without warning, one of the severed hand props suddenly flies off the surface and hits the floor. There's no one near it, nothing touching the table, and no logical force behind the movement. Ian backs up instantly, clearly shaken, realizing that whatever responded to him earlier wasn't finished interacting. The factory had already been active, but this moment made it clear that something there was reacting directly to him. For the past hour, Christian says he'd been hearing strange knocking sounds coming from his kitchen. Soft at first, but frequent enough that he finally grabbed his phone to record. He walks in slowly, clearly tense, trying to catch whatever has been making the noise.
Hey guys, I've been hearing this really weird knocking coming from my kitchen for like the last hour. What the hell? No way. The hell?
As soon as the camera points toward the cabinets, one of the doors can be seen slowly opening on its own, just a few inches, before gently closing again. Christian freezes, speaking in disbelief as it keeps happening, almost like something testing whether it's being watched. The second he steps closer, the movement stops completely. He reaches out, pulls the cabinet open fully, and shows the inside is empty. No pets, no loose hinges, nothing that could explain it. The knocking doesn't return, but the silence that follows feels even worse. Christian later said this was the moment he realized the sounds weren't random at all, and whatever was in his kitchen only moved when it thought it was alone. Andos was home alone late at night, sitting at his computer when he heard a strange noise coming from somewhere outside his room. At first, it sounded almost like a voice, muffled and distant, the kind of noise you can convince yourself is just a neighbor or something outside. Still, it unsettled him enough that he grabbed his phone and started recording. He steps outside for a moment, scanning the area, then comes back in and slowly walks through the house, checking room after room to prove nothing's there. Everything seems normal, quiet again, almost embarrassingly so. But when he finally enters his parents' bedroom, that calm evaporates. As soon as he steps inside, the wardrobe door ahead of him begins to open on its own, slowly creaking outward, as if someone inside was pushing it. Andos freezes, then backs away, clearly panicking as the door opens with no one near it. He insists nobody else was in the house, and there was no draft strong enough to cause it. After that night, he said he stopped staying in that room altogether, convinced whatever made that noise earlier was waiting for him to come back. In this next clip from the YouTube channel Fourth Wall, which currently has over 268,000 subscribers and focuses entirely on paranormal investigations, the person behind the camera captures a moment that viewers still argue about. He's slowly filming a miniature 3D model on a table that resembles traditional Asian architecture, carefully panning the camera, but he feels heavy and uncomfortable. As he steps closer to the model, something unsettling happens off to his left. A small Buddha statue suddenly tips over and falls straight to the ground without being touched. The sound cuts through the room, instantly changing the mood. He freezes, then turns the camera to show there's nothing near it that could have caused the fall. No vibration, no movement, no one else present. What makes this moment even more disturbing to viewers is the symbolism. Many believe that if a presence is strong enough to knock over a religious figure, especially one associated with peace and protection, it could suggest whatever is there doesn't belong or doesn't want it to be acknowledged. After the clip, the creator admitted the atmosphere in the room felt colder and heavier, and he ended the investigation shortly after. Whether coincidence or something darker, this moment is one of the reasons Fourth Wall continues to trend in the paranormal community. Subscribe as this story will be continuing. In the following video, the man recording keeps the camera steady, zooming slightly as the movement behind the curtain becomes harder to ignore. The shadow paces back and forth with a clear, human-like shape, its head and shoulders briefly outlined as it passes the thin fabric again and again.
Hey, ¿qué pedo? Mamen, si ven eso. ¡Qué verga! Y, o sea, lo cagado es que estoy en un segundo piso.
After a few seconds, he musters the courage to pull the curtain aside, half expecting someone to be standing there, but the space is completely empty. To make things even stranger, he leans out and angles the camera through the window, showing the outside clearly. There's nobody below, no one walking past, no possible reflection. The most bizarre part is that he was on the second floor, meaning whatever cast that shadow couldn't have been outside in the first place. The curtain hangs still now, as if nothing ever moved behind it. The clip ends with him standing there in silence, trying to process how something could walk back and forth behind a curtain without ever actually being there. A woman was out walking her Labrador along a quiet trail, filming casually as the dog kept pulling hard toward the woods, unusually fixated on something off the path. She laughs it off at first, assuming the dog just caught a scent, but the way it keeps resisting and staring makes her turn the camera in that direction.
Come on, Bruce. What's up? Come on. Come on. Oi. Come on. Bruce. Come on.
As she pans toward the trees, a faint, human-shaped figure can be seen standing just inside the tree line, partially obscured by shadow and distance. It's easy to miss in real time, and she doesn't react at all, continuing the walk. A few moments later, as the dog pulls again and she films the same area, the figure appears once more, this time slipping behind the nearest tree as if it's actively trying not to be seen. The movement is slow and deliberate, not like an animal. She walks on completely unaware, but she later pointed out the figure frame by frame when editing the video. Paired with the dog's sudden, intense behavior, many believe whatever was watching her knew exactly what it was doing and chose to stay hidden. In the upcoming clip, Manuel is exploring an abandoned school late at night, a place he's convinced is haunted after hearing about unexplained activity there for years. The building is silent except for his footsteps echoing through the empty halls as he films, slowly making his way toward the area where most of the reports seem to come from. The further he goes, the heavier the atmosphere feels, like the air itself is tense.
Para que vean que no es inventado, o sea, no tengo ningún otro dispositivo. La bocina la tengo aquí, o sea, no hay otro medio, estoy grabando con mi teléfono, un único teléfono. Y nuevamente escuché ruidos. Maldita sea. Nuevamente escuché ruidos, Esta vez ya no es un niño. No mames. ¡Ey! ¿Quién está ahí? No seas mamón. Ay, no seas mamón. Estoy completamente solo y...
As he approaches a hallway near the bathrooms, a strange, high-pitched sound begins to ring out, faint at first, but sharp enough to make him stop in his tracks. He follows it, the noise guiding him straight to a bathroom on the left. As he gets closer, the sound shifts into something worse, a quiet, drawn-out wail that sends chills through him. Manuel steps inside, whispering "hey" into the darkness as the wail suddenly grows much louder, echoing off the tiled walls. He starts checking each stall one by one, showing they're all empty, but the moment he finishes, the sound abruptly stops. A second later, the wailing resumes again, this time coming from deeper inside the school, far beyond the bathroom he's standing in. Manuel freezes, realizing whatever made that sound wasn't trapped in one room at all, and it was moving. Part 2 picks up immediately where the last clip left off, and this time there's no mistaking how intense things have become. The noise is now incredibly loud, echoing from deep within the building, no longer distant or faint. It sounds unmistakably like a woman in pain, a long, strained wailing that fills the halls and makes the walls vibrate.
Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames. No mames, y justamente en el baño de... ¿Quién está ahí? No, no mames. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Qué pedo? Es que... Esto ya no es normal, neta, ya no es normal. No mames, se sintió algo bien cabrón esta parte de aquí. No mames, clarito se está escuchando. Salga. Es que no. Güey, ¿qué pedo? O sea, ella es aquí. Saco. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí? No mames, qué putas me metí, cabrón. Hola. Hola. Ay, no mames, no, ya no hay. No hay nadie. Ya no se escuchó nada. Rayos.
As Manuel stands frozen, the bathroom stall doors in front of him begin to open one by one on their own. It's very quick, as if something unseen is pushing them from the inside. That's enough to force him to retreat backward into the hallway, breathing heavy as the sound drags on longer than ever before. Just when it finally cuts out, he cautiously steps forward again, but the second he reaches the bathroom entrance, the scream erupts once more, even louder. He later claims all of this was happening around 3 in the morning. Unsure what to do, Manuel stays where he is as the cries continue, bouncing around the building and making it impossible to pinpoint the source. He decides to check the men's bathroom to the right, but as he films inside, it becomes clear the noise isn't coming from there at all. Suddenly, it shifts again, pulling him back toward the women's bathroom, where it now sounds less like screaming and more like someone violently gagging or vomiting behind the walls. Moments later, the agonizing screams return at full volume. Manuel calls out Hola several times, his voice shaky, but there's no response. Then, for the longest stretch so far, everything goes completely silent. Taking that as his chance, he slowly backs away, never turning his back, before finally leaving the building altogether. Whatever was inside didn't follow him out, but the sounds he captured were more than enough to convince him never to return. Thomas had already been dealing with strange noises in the house for weeks, but this was the first time he decided to actually record anything. Late one night, convinced the sounds were coming from above him, he grabbed his phone, climbed up to the attic entrance. The footage shows him pulling the attic door open and shining his light into the darkness, calling out hello several times, half joking and half genuinely nervous. The attic is completely unlit, stretching out farther than expected, filled with old boxes and shadows that seem to swallow the beam of his torch. Take a look.
Thought I heard something. Whoa, wait. Hello? Hello? Oh God!
A few steps in, the camera suddenly jolts as Thomas freezes. At the far end of the attic, barely visible, a dark humanoid shape stands motionless, darker than the shadows around it. It doesn't move, but the longer he looks, the clearer it becomes that it isn't just an object. Panic sets in instantly. Thomas spins around and bolts back toward the stairs, breathing hard as the footage turns chaotic. The camera cuts out shortly after, once he reaches the hallway below and has to stop to catch his breath. After the incident, Thomas explained how difficult it was convincing his parents that what he saw was real. They initially brushed it off as nerves or imagination, but after hearing the recording and noticing that the attic noises didn't stop, they finally took it seriously. The family ended up barricading the attic door completely, stacking furniture beneath it and sealing it shut. Thomas says the sounds have quieted since then, but he refuses to go anywhere near that part of the house again. Whatever he saw up there was enough to change everyone's mind. Ahmed was just sitting back, watching TV in his house, when he heard a few sharp knocks coming from somewhere inside the house. At first he ignored it, but when it happened again, he grabbed his phone and started recording.
Vea, mi gente, yo realmente no creía mucho en estas cosas. Yo vivo totalmente solo. ¿Escucharon la puerta? ¿Escucharon? Yo vivo solo, aquí no hay nadie. Se los juro, yo vivo totalmente solo. No puede ser, o sea, no puede ser. Estoy cagado. No puede ser. No puede ser. Estoy cagado. No puede ser. Dios. ¿Qué mierdas? No seas tan mamón. No puede ser. No puede ser. No puede ser. Uy, Dios. No. No. Vean, les juro que acabo de escuchar no sé si vieron la maldita silla moviéndose. No puede maldita ser posible. Vea, yo estoy solo, yo nadie va, no hay hilos. No puede ser. Ay, Dios. No hay nadie, no hay ni mierda, no hay nadie. No hay ni una mierda, no hay nadie. Ay, no. Mierda. ¿Qué hago? Mierda. No puede ser. ¡Ay, puta! ¡Mierda! No.
As the camera rolls, a few more knocks echo through the room, clear and deliberate. Ahmed slowly stands up and approaches the door, hesitating before pulling it open, only to find nothing there at all. No one in the hallway, no movement, just silence. Trying to shake it off, he walks down the corridor to check the other rooms. That's when something even stranger happens. A piece of furniture in the next room, what looks like a sofa at first glance, suddenly slides a short distance across the floor on its own. Startled, Ahmed backs away and retreats to his bedroom, shutting the door behind him as fast as he can. Almost immediately, the knocking starts again, this time sounding closer, like something is trying to get back in. After a few moments, he works up the courage to leave the room and return to the same spot. This time, he realizes it wasn't even a sofa that moved. It was a stool, now sitting out of place in the middle of the room. He pushes it back to where it was, clearly shaken, and once again retreats to his bedroom, locking himself inside. The noises don't stop, and by the end of the recording, Ahmed admits this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. After everything he's experienced in that house, he's now seriously considering selling the property and leaving it behind for good. In this next clip, popular YouTuber Narrated is casually vlogging, talking to his audience about something strange that happened to him earlier that day. At first, it feels like a normal story time. He explains that he heard unexplained noises in his house and felt like someone else was there with him, but he brushes it off, half joking as he talks it through.
I want you to tweet me and put in some comments any story that you guys have, or any moments of I don't know if I can explain that, or what is going on. If you believe in ghosts, if you don't believe in ghosts, I want to hear from you guys, man, because maybe here's something I should be doing in here to stop it. I have no idea, but yeah, I just want to share it with you guys. Really.
As he starts wrapping up the video, talking to the camera, something unsettling happens in the background. For just a split second, a white, mist-like apparition appears behind him, clearly humanoid in shape before fading out almost instantly. Narrated doesn't react at all and continues talking, completely unaware of what the camera just captured. It's only after viewers rewatched the footage frame by frame that the figure was noticed, sparking a wave of comments pointing it out. Whether it was a coincidence or something genuinely unexplained, the fact that it appeared right as he finished recounting the experience makes the moment feel disturbingly well-timed. After that moment went viral, Nadeshot decided to take things a step further. Instead of just vlogging, he set up a camera system inside his house, aiming it towards several different areas where he thought the noises might have been coming from. He left it running while he went about his day, hoping to catch something he couldn't explain. The footage cycles between different rooms in the house, switching every few seconds, all of them completely empty and still. Nothing seems out of place at first, until the feed returns to the kitchen. Without warning, the camera suddenly jolts and tips forward, crashing onto the floor as if it had been pushed. There's no one in the room, no pets nearby, and nothing visible that could have knocked it over. The recording cuts shortly after, leaving viewers with yet another unexplained moment inside the same house. Paired with the earlier apparition caught behind him on camera, it's no surprise fans started questioning whether whatever he joked about at the start was actually very real. Sarah is in her house late at night, filming again in hopes of finally catching whatever has been haunting the place for so long. She's talking calmly to the camera, explaining that the activity has been happening for weeks, when something interrupts her mid-sentence.
Esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque la gente no dura rentando. Rompe el contrato por una u otra cosa y tuvimos que venirla a limpiar el día de hoy porque ya mañana se van a mover. Se las quiero enseñar. Lo raro es que dice el realtor que no dura la gente. Esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque rompe el contrato a la gente. No mames. Ya es noche. Estoy sola. Chingados, estoy. No hay nada. Esta pinche casa la han rentado un chingo de veces. Y no sé por qué rompe el contrato a la gente. Ay, no, déjenme regresar, sí, porque me dio cosas a la pinche puerta. Y dicen los señores que rentan aquí que miran demasiadas cosas. La gente no dura viviendo aquí, rompe el contrato, así que vamos a grabar un poquito para allá. Ese pinche cuarto ahí no sé qué fregados es. Ya las muchachas me están esperando allá afuera. Miren, allá me da cosa. Tengo que prender la luz. Ahorita voy a ir a prender la luz para seguir grabando. ¿Te imaginas? Para que la gente rompa el contrato acá es porque de plano no aguantan a vivir aquí. Y ahorita les voy a enseñar lo demás para allá. Déjenme prender la luz. ¿Dónde está la luz acá? Chingada madre. Ahorita les voy a enseñar. Esta es una recámara. Se está poniendo ahorita tenso. Entonces, el Señor dice que ya van varias familias que rompen el contrato. No sé qué es lo que pasó aquí. Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que... Chingados, que... Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que realmente ha pasado.
Behind her,
Pero sí la hemos limpiado varias veces porque no dura la gente. Y eso sí, la verdad es algo extraño que no dure nadie. Yo no sé si tú has vivido en una casa así, donde te hayas tenido que haber salido por algo o roto el contrato. Ahorita les voy a enseñar qué es eso que se escucha. ¡Ey! ¿Andan acá? No mames. Espérenme. Iba a dejar grabando, pero la neta ya me está dando cosa. Se escucha el ruido para acá. No sé qué sea. Yo creo que me voy a tener que ir.
the bathroom door slowly opens on its own. She notices it a moment later and walks over, pushing it fully open and showing the camera inside to prove there's nothing there. Confident it was just another strange coincidence, she continues walking through the house, still talking as she goes. A few rooms later, she reaches a darker area where the pull string on a ceiling light is gently swaying back and forth, even though the air is completely still. She pauses, then pauses to turn the light on, brushing it off and continuing on. Eventually, she comes across another dark room, unaware of what is about to happen. In the doorway ahead of her, a completely blacked out figure slowly peeks out, its shape barely visible against the darkness before pulling back out of sight. Sarah never reacts and keeps talking as if nothing happened, but viewers immediately noticed it when she uploaded the footage. Whatever has been moving doors and lights in her house may have finally revealed itself, even if she didn't see it in the moment. The clip starts quietly, with the dog sitting stiffly at the window, completely fixated on the blinds like it's watching something only it can see. The woman filming notices how tense the dog is, and slowly zooms in toward the small gap between the blinds, almost as if she already knows there's something there.
Yep, I knew she was going. They're out there. As usual. Okay, they're out there again. Dang, what'd it do? It backed off real fast when Champ come up. Dang, trying to hide from Champ? Whatever the heck that is out there. Now it's back. see its eye blinking right in the window. Come here, kitty. I got to show Andy this video. He ain't believe this. There's no way he cannot have to mistakes not see this. Kitty, if you don't get... That's it. I've had enough of...
Through the narrow opening, two faint glowing specks can be seen hovering outside in the darkness, positioned far too evenly apart to be a reflection or an animal she recognizes. She whispers to her dog, calling its name again and again, trying to get it to come back to her, but the dog doesn't respond at all. It doesn't flinch, doesn't turn around, just stares, frozen and mesmerized. Minutes pass, with her growing more panicked, raising her voice and begging the dog to move while the glowing shapes remain perfectly still, blinking just once. She later claims this wasn't the first time she'd seen something like this near her home, believing it could be what people refer to as the dogman. The video cuts abruptly with no resolution, leaving viewers unsettled by how long the dog stayed locked in place, and whatever it was watching just beyond the blinds. At around 9:35 at night, the camera starts rolling in near silence, except for the sound of a woman crying somewhere in the house, while a man quietly narrates what he's hearing. To clear up any doubt, he pans the camera toward the television to show it was just a movie. What happens next is far more relevant though. Take a look.
Actividad paranormal en mi casa.
Me acuerdo de cada expresión en su cara.
Bueno, me encuentro viendo una película, ya casi van a ser las 10 de la noche.
Todo lo que pasó cuando estaba con él, si de verdad fue real. Yo los vi.
Escuché cosas allá en la cocina y mire, están todos esos cajones de arriba
Algo revuelta.
abiertos y pues
Cuando 2 toneladas de metal se impactan contra Dios.
pensé que no iba a suceder nada hoy, pero
No importa, es la verdad. Peleamos esa semana, ¿lo olvidaste? Ustedes tuvieron un épico verano. Y eso jamás lo olvidaré.
deja de huella en la cocina.
Sí. Bueno, yo no lo olvidaré y solo era un espectador celosa. No puede ser. Es mi primer día de vuelta y ya estoy hecha un bodrio. Es cierto. Es la verdad.
Esos cajones se están moviendo solos.
Escuché lo que pasó, pues lo lamento mucho. Si fueras mi hija, te diría que lo usaras.
He slowly turns the camera back toward the doorway leading into the kitchen, explaining that unexplained activity has been happening in his house for weeks now. As he edges closer, one of the kitchen cabinets suddenly slams shut on its own with a sharp bang, making him flinch, but not retreat. He steps fully into the kitchen, heart clearly racing, when another cabinet door snaps closed right in front of him. Then, as if reacting to his movement, a third cabinet slams shut as he gets closer to it. Trying to stay calm, he opens each cabinet one by one, showing they're empty, and nothing inside could have caused them to move. No loose hinges, no drafts, no pets in the room. Whatever was making itself known didn't need the noise anymore. It had already proven it was there. In this final clip, CCTV footage from inside a building captures something that genuinely defies logic. The camera is fixed on a quiet doorway with no one anywhere in frame. For a while, nothing happens at all until it does.
Look at that. There's no way that could have failed by, like, somebody didn't do that. Something did that by itself. How could a ceiling light fall on its own like that? There's no way. No way.
Without warning, the ceiling light suddenly rips free and crashes straight down onto the floor below. There's no shaking beforehand, no visible trigger, no person nearby who could have touched it. Lights like that do not just fall on their own, especially in an empty, secured area. The impact echoes through the hallway, and the room is left completely still again, as if nothing happened. After reviewing the footage, staff confirmed nobody had entered the area before or after the incident. The security guard on duty that night reportedly resigned the very next day, saying the footage was enough for him. Whatever caused that light to fall was never identified, and the building has since gained a reputation among workers as a place you do not want to be alone in. In the following video, a group of innocent people were trying to make sense of what they're seeing after the atmosphere in the room completely changed. The door was shaking earlier, and the second they started recording, it suddenly goes still, almost like whatever was there was listening.
So we are all sitting here, enjoying our Taco Bell, right? And Ghost Malone was over there shaking the door a second ago. Ghost Malone, if you are still around, do something.
Give us a sign.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Look at her.
Nonchalant. Alright, so ironically, I'm watching Ghostbusters, right? Ghost Malone. Ghosty. Yo. Are you kidding? Alright, so I've been asking Ghost Malone some questions. Okay, so 1 time if you're there, 2 times, or I guess no times if you're not. Definitely there, okay. Are you friendly? Okay, okay. Do you like Ghostbusters? No? Okay, do you like movies? Okay, okay. Alright, just on Ghostbusters, I guess it's insulting. Are you here to cause harm? Okay. Okay. Man, I wish I knew Morse code. We'd try that. Are you an older spirit? Okay, but not a bad spirit. Okay. Is there more than one of you? Oh, okay.
One of them nervously asks if it's still around, and that's when a small child's toy car slowly rolls across the floor on its own, stopping just as quickly as it started. The mood flips from laughter to shock instantly. They begin talking to it calmly, asking simple questions, and almost immediately, a painting on the wall starts to move, tilting forward and lifting slightly as if being pushed from behind. Realizing it might be responding, they start using the painting as a way to communicate, asking yes or no questions, and watching it shift each time. Over the course of the clip, they figure out whatever is there doesn't seem hostile, just curious, and oddly specific, reacting negatively when Ghostbusters is mentioned, but calming down again moments later. By the end, they're convinced this isn't just one presence either, since the ghost claimed to have an accomplice. People were quick to question why everyone seemed so calm during the first encounter, almost accusing them of downplaying what happened. Instead of arguing back, the man behind the camera decided to do the opposite and returned to the room alone to see if whatever was there would respond again.
So, a couple weird things have happened tonight, like my mom's painting over there has moved. And Ghosty. Ghost Malone. You there? Don't judge the trash. It's trash day. Ghosty. Okay. Maxie, what was that? Huh? So we're sitting here. Revelation here, is it?
Hi, Maxie.
It should also be noted that we've had several, like, offers from paranormal people to come here and whatnot. We're down. But there's been a few of them that are like private profiles, minus the big ones you guys have suggested. Nobody's reached out, but I don't know. I might take offers for people to just come stay the night so you can see whether it's real or not for yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I am gonna take a list of questions. I've been writing down in the comments all the questions you guys have for Ghost Malone, and then we're gonna do like the Stranger Things light or dog button things to see if that does anything.
The house is quiet now. No nervous laughter, no group energy, just him speaking carefully into the empty space, asking if the presence is still around. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, without warning, a large baby playpen sitting across the room begins to slide across the floor on its own. It moves slowly but deliberately, scraping loudly as it shifts several feet with no one touching it. The man backs away in shock, clearly shaken now that there's no one else there to share the moment with. He later explained that this wasn't an isolated event either. Multiple paranormal investigators have since visited the house, documenting repeated activity and ruling out natural causes. Despite their efforts, nothing has stopped what's happening, and the family has made it clear that if the experts can't put an end to it, they're moving out for good. Whatever is in that house clearly has no interest in being ignored, no matter if it has good intentions. Moving into a new house is already daunting enough, but for Kyle, that feeling didn't last long at all. He'd only just bought the place and was walking through it for the first time properly, filming on his phone while the rooms were still empty and undecorated. It was meant to be a simple walkthrough, nothing dramatic, just getting familiar with the layout, but the house clearly had other plans.
I was moving into my new house. I was alone, and this happened. Good luck to me.
As Kyle pans down the long corridor, the lights begin turning themselves on and off, one by one, flickering in a slow, deliberate pattern that doesn't look like a wiring issue at all. At the far end of the hallway, a door starts to close on its own, inch by inch, until it's almost fully shut. Kyle walks toward it, clearly uneasy, and pushes to open it again. The moment he tries, he pauses. Something on the other side is pushing back. You can hear it in his voice as he strains, confused, wondering if anyone's there. After a few seconds, the resistance suddenly stops, and he manages to force the door open. He steps inside, filming the entire time, only to find an empty room. No people, no animals, no explanation. For a house that was supposed to be a fresh start, it didn't waste any time letting him know he might not be alone there at all. Things only escalate from there.
What the F is going on? Things are going crazy now.
As Kyle moves further into the house, another door suddenly starts rattling aggressively in front of him, shaking in its frame like something on the other side is trying to force its way out. He hesitates, then pushes it open, only to step into the next room and realize it's happening again. This time, a sliding door inside the corridor begins opening and closing by itself, gliding back and forth with no one touching it. The movement is steady and deliberate, not random. Kyle keeps filming, clearly shaken now, when something else catches his eye. A doll sitting in the room shifts on its own. He doesn't touch it, doesn't go near it, but it moves anyway, just enough to make it unmistakable. At that point, the excitement in his voice is gone, replaced with pure unease. Whatever is in this house seems to be reacting to him room by room, almost guiding him deeper inside. For a place he just moved into, the activity is immediate and relentless, and Kyle realizes this new house isn't just unsettling, it might actually be dangerous if he stays. The Martin house has a reputation for child sightings, with locals claiming they've seen figures in the upper windows for years, despite the place being completely abandoned. In this clip, a woman just happens to be driving past when she remembers the stories and decides to pull over and film from a distance, more out of curiosity than anything else.
This is the Martin house. Haunted. Panama City, Florida, my first book. And I'm just driving by randomly. Look in the window. Please, somebody tell me you see what I'm seeing. A child. He supposedly, maybe, we're not sure. Stories have changed over the years. Man went crazy and killed his entire family after finding out his wife was cheating with the servant. Hung the servant on a tree that used to be in the front yard that the hurricane took out. But the stories are that the children can be seen. I see a kid. Fuck.
As she zooms in on the top floor, a small, childlike figure can be seen standing in one of the windows, staring outward. What makes it especially unsettling is how unnatural it looks. The figure doesn't move at all, not even slightly, almost like it's frozen in place. There are no lights on inside the house, no signs of anyone living there, and according to locals, nobody has for a long time. The woman stays filming for a moment, clearly confused, before slowly backing away and getting back in her car once the footage ends. Later, people pointed out that the figure looks too realistic to be a decoration, but too still to be a real person, which only adds to the mystery. For a house already known for reports of child apparitions, this sighting just made its reputation even harder to ignore. In this clip, security camera footage from inside a family's room captures something that quickly spiraled from unsettling to outright disturbing. The camera shows the room late at night with no one inside, while small orbs drift through the air, floating in irregular patterns. What makes it stranger is that the camera itself keeps rotating slightly, almost as if it's tracking the movement of the orbs rather than randomly shifting. Each time the camera settles, it keeps landing back on a doll, sitting upright on a chair in the corner of the room. And every time it does, the doll appears to have changed position just slightly. Its head tilts, its body slumps, then straightens again in ways that don't look like simple camera glitches. Over the course of the footage, the movements become more noticeable, subtle but intentional enough to raise alarms. The Fodder family said they hadn't touched the doll at all that night, and no one was home when this was recorded. After reviewing the footage and noticing how often the activity seemed centered around it, they didn't want to take any chances. The next day, they removed the doll from the house entirely and threw it out with the trash, saying it felt less like a toy and more like something that was watching back. In the following video, two men are out late at night filming along a quiet road, one of them sweeping a flashlight across the darkness while the other keeps the camera steady. The place feels empty and still until something at the far end of the road catches their attention. It's shaped like a person, standing in a way that looks almost human, but not quite right, too stiff and uncanny to make sense.
¿No? Sí. Tengo una lamparota super expanded. Ah, bueno, tú tienes tu luz azul. ¿Qué?
Güey, ese es el velador de...
Es el velador, ¿no? Ah, velador. ¡Ey! ¡Velador!
Aguanta, espérate, ey. Shh, no te muevas. No mames, no te muevas ahí. Güey.
¿Velador?
Ese no es el velador, güey.
Güey, no es el velador.
No.
Yo también pensaba que era el velador.
No, aguanta. Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, güey. Eso no es el velador. No digas perras mamadas, güey. Perdón. ¡Ey! Se me cayó algo, güey. ¿Qué se me cayó? A la verga. Sentí que se me cayó mi cartera, pero no. ¡Hola! No digas cosas. No. Güey, ¿fue aquí? No digas mamadas, güey. Buenas, velador. No mames. Esta madre no pudo haber salido, está con reja. Está con reja, güey. No digas mamadas, güey. Joe. Miren. No digas mamadas, güey.
Yo la vi moverse, güey.
No, Joe. No. No, güey, no mames.
¿Qué fue eso, güey?
No sé.
No mames, güey. No mames.
¿Crees que haya sido ella?
Güey, nos estamos metiendo más adentro, güey, nomás. Banda, comparte.
No mames, güey, no mames.
Parece que sus ojos te miran, ¿verdad?
Pareciera, pero no creo, güey. Güey, es que qué pedo, güey. Hola. Tú te moviste. Tú fuiste la que se movió. ¿Es así? No mames, güey.
¿Me voy a acercar tantito?
¿Tú fuiste la que se movió, mujer? A ver, güey.
Siempre dicen que hay que...
Güey, es que era el vestido también así, güey.
¿Verdad?
Amarillo.
Yo pensé que era el velador, te lo juro, hermano.
Yo también, güey.
¿Cómo que me detuviste?
No, güey, no era el velador, mira. Blancanieves.
Blancanieves.
Ay, güey, dime que no era cierto, güey. No mames, güey.
Qué miedo.
Miren. Pero es que, güey, no creo que haya sido ella, güey, mira. Porque no se puede ni sostener esto, güey. Mira, y aparte está muy rompido todo, mira.
No, o sea, está hecha de fibra de
No mames, güey.
Pero ella no se puede mover.
Sería ella.
No tiene brazo, además.
Güey, porque yo no miro a nadie más, güey.
They zoom in as much as they can, whispering back and forth, trying to work out if it's someone standing there or something else entirely. The figure doesn't move at first, just stays there facing in the right direction, before slowly slipping behind a wall at the edge of the road. Both men panic and sprint forward, convinced they'll catch whoever it is. But when they reach the spot, there's nothing. No footsteps, no place it could have run, nowhere to hide. After searching the area with the flashlight, they finally spot a strange mannequin positioned nearby, its posture eerily similar to what they saw from a distance. Up close, it's completely motionless, just a lifeless prop. Still, the timing and placement make it hard to shake the feeling that something wasn't right, and they leave unsure whether they really saw a trick of the light or something that moved when they weren't close enough to prove it. Steve was out motorbiking alone as daylight started to fade, filming casually as he followed a narrow trail through the wilderness. At first, it just felt eerie in the normal way remote places do at dusk, until he began noticing bones scattered along the path, bleached white and unnaturally clustered. That's when the atmosphere shifted. The forest went dead quiet. No insects, no wind, no distant animals, just the sound of his engine cutting through an uncomfortable silence.
Just wait till the end. I don't like this at all. Oh god, there's even more bones than last time. Looks like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. I'm probably gonna turn around soon. Oh, there's two ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever. It just got really quiet really fast. That was my cue to leave.
What was this?
The trail soon split into two directions, and Steve slowed down, hesitating as he tried to decide which way to go. As he angled the camera to the right-hand path, something moves. Crawling out from the bushes is a figure that doesn't move like an animal or a person. Low to the ground, twisted, and disturbingly human in shape. It pauses just long enough to be seen clearly before continuing forward. Steve doesn't wait to understand what he's looking at. He immediately turns the bike around and speeds off the way he came, breathing hard as the forest stays unnaturally silent behind him. He later said he didn't stop riding until he reached a populated road, convinced that whatever he saw wasn't supposed to be out there at all. Just as they were about to leave the store for the night, Nick and his co-worker were standing near the entrance, debating whether they should just walk out and grab her keys from the back room later. The lights ahead of them were flickering non-stop, buzzing on and off in a way that felt way too deliberate to be electrical. You can hear the hesitation in both their voices as they start recording, knowing they've dealt with strange things here before.
Okay guys, we were literally just about to leave my store when shit just started flickering again. This is the second time it's happened. My car's over there, and
I'm shaking right now.
Okay, and her keys are in the back.
We need to go. We need to go get my keys.
And the light turned on.
I don't want to go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna literally record this whole thing just so you guys can see what happened. I'm literally so scared. Okay, okay, something. The bathroom light's on too.
Bro, why are my keys on the floor? They were not there. Like, I deadass put them on the desk. Like, oh my god.
This is literally insane.
As they slowly walk toward the back, something on the front counter suddenly slides off and hits the floor, startling both of them. They freeze in place for a moment, unsure if they should keep going, but the woman advances because she needs her keys from the kitchen. They push forward even though neither of them wants to. When they finally reach the kitchen doorway, they realize the situation has only gotten worse. Random objects are scattered across the floor, like something had been tossing things around when nobody was in there. Nothing is moving now, the lights aren't flickering back here, and no one else is inside the store. But the aftermath is clear as day. Whatever was acting up wasn't finished until they came to see it, and Nick's expression says it all. This store has something in it, and it wasn't happy they tried to leave. In the direct continuation of their video, Nick and his co-worker are now sitting in the back room, huddled around the security monitors while trying to figure out what to do next. They're already nearly 50 minutes past the end of their shift, too scared to walk through the store again, but too nervous to stay inside any longer. As Nick walks around to show something they missed earlier, a thud happens right beside him off-screen, like something had just been thrown across the room. They both jump instantly, backing away from one another while in panic.
Okay guys, we've been sitting in the back for like 20 minutes now, and we're just watching the cameras, and stuff is still flickering and going on, but nothing happened back here, and we need to go home, and this is so freaking terrifying.
We're 50 minutes past our shift because of this shit.
We closed at 10, so we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, go.
Okay, this is what I mean. This room is over. This is.
Oh my god.
This is what we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yeah. What? Bro, Nick, did you on purpose? Did you fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
No. We literally looked away for like 2 seconds.
Eventually, they decide they can't stay in the building, so they head outside to wait for the manager. Standing by the front windows, they keep an eye on the dark store through the glass, filming just in case anything else happens. That's when the lights above the front counters begin to sway back and forth, slow but deliberate, as if something inside was pacing beneath them. Nobody's in the building now, the AC is off, and the doors are locked. Yet the fixtures keep swinging overhead like someone is still walking around in there. Nick's co-worker started saying she's done coming in for late shifts after the recording, and Nick doesn't even argue. After everything they just watched happen, it's pretty clear the store isn't empty at all. A few days later, Nick is back on shift, this time during the daytime when the store should feel a lot less eerie. But the moment he starts recording, it becomes obvious that whatever's been happening hasn't stopped at all.
Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. Okay, we're gonna peace out for the night. This is, I can't even put the key in. This is what we deal with at Swirls and Twirls, and no one believes us because who would? Who really would? And the backlight's still on.
This place is fucking possessed by a demon, so I'm
No,
quitting.
the light's still on.
Like, which one?
I don't think we turned it off though, but now the machine lights are on. Good. This is great. This is great. Okay guys, I'm here alone. It's a few days later, and it's 6 o'clock. I'll show you the time. The lights are freaking flickering again. The music is being wacky. The speakers are in the ceiling. Like, this is literally insane. And now they stopped. And now they're like, this is what I mean. Nothing. Like, I don't know how to explain this. The switch is right here.
The overhead lights are flickering again, brightening and dimming in quick bursts even though the weather's calm, and the power in the rest of the building is perfectly steady. As he walks through the kitchen, you can hear the store's music cutting in and out, switching itself off for a few seconds before randomly coming back on at full volume, like someone is messing with the system behind the scenes. Nick keeps panning the camera around to show that he's alone up front. No customers and no co-workers near the switches or speakers. The atmosphere feels completely wrong for the middle of the day, almost like the store is trying to prove that time doesn't matter. Whatever made the late night shift so terrifying is still here, still active, and now it isn't even waiting for the dark. Nick seems very frightened a little near the end, and he later says he doesn't get paid enough for this. And honestly, after everything that's happened, he might be right. Here's the smooth, seamless continuation in your exact TS format, with the transitions flowing naturally into the previous clips. From the woman's perspective now, the video switches to her filming as she and Nick sit together in the back room, scrolling through the CCTV footage to make sense of everything. She explains how, earlier that night, one of the chairs in the front seating area randomly fell over, and the lights all across the store were flickering at the same time, almost like the whole building was reacting to something they couldn't see. They're both pointing at the monitor, talking quietly about which camera angle to check next, when suddenly, a strange noise echoes from somewhere outside the room. It's loud enough to cut their conversation short instantly. They freeze, stare at each other, and within a second, both get up and run out of the office in panic, leaving the camera pointed at the floor.
Hey, it's 11:29. Me and Nick were supposed to leave here at 11 o'clock, but weird shit is happening.
A chair fell. There's lights flickering on the machines.
There is lights flickering everywhere.
A chair fell.
It's freaking me out.
What the that. There's actual footsteps going on in the ceiling right now. And something just fell over here. Is anyone there?
I'm scared. Oh, stop! Stop! Oh my god! Stop!
The footage then cuts directly to the CCTV from earlier that night, showing the exact moment the chair fell. There's no one around it, nothing touching it, and the fall is so sudden it looks like it had been yanked. Right after that, the video switches to handheld footage again, now from the woman's phone, as she joyfully walks through the store. As she approaches the front counter, something crashes loudly to her right. She swings the camera over, and the cash register that had been sitting up on the counter is now on the floor, tipped over on its back like it was pushed hard. She gasps instantly. This entire chain of events makes it obvious that whatever is in the store isn't tied to the time of day, the number of people around, or whether anyone is watching. It shows itself whenever it wants to, and this time it was making sure both of them saw it. A man named Joseph had been dealing with strange noises coming from his bathroom for a few days, so he finally decided to set up a camera facing the bathroom door to see if he could catch anything on film. He explained that he'd leave it rolling for a few hours while he relaxed in bed, hoping the noises would happen again. Take a look.
So I've been hearing some strange noises coming from this bathroom. And so I'm going to set up this camera to record and see if we catch anything. I've never caught anything on camera before, so I'm hoping that this might be the first time, but kind of sounds like scratches.
For almost an hour, nothing unusual happens, just the quiet hum of the house and the faint reflection of the hallway lights on the bathroom mirror. But then, without any warning, as the man enters his room after getting a drink, a dark shadow suddenly enters the frame. It appears on the right side of the mirror, shaped unmistakably like a human figure peeking into the bathroom. It pauses for a brief moment, almost as if watching, then quickly pulls back out of view as if it realized it had been caught. Joseph wasn't in the bathroom, nobody else was in the house, and the angle of the camera makes it clear this wasn't a trick of the light. Something had approached that doorway, looked inside, and retreated. Whatever had been making those noises wasn't imaginary at all, and now he finally had proof it was watching him. In the follow-up clip, he explains that people kept asking for an update after the incident, so he decided to film again to show exactly what had been happening. He starts in the bathroom with the camera pointed around the small space, proving there is nothing hiding behind the door or in the shower, before he switches the light off, saying the spirit never seems to like it when the room is bright. He then walks out and sits down on the small couch across from the hallway, the house silent, except for his breathing as he keeps the camera aimed at the doorway where the shadow had appeared the night before. He tries to sound calm, almost joking, and jokingly says peekaboo toward the dark corridor.
All right, guys, so you wanted an update. So here is the shower. That's where the cat goes to the bathroom, so nobody's in there. Nobody's in the bathroom. Nothing's behind the door. All right, we're turning the light off because it doesn't like the light. Here's my fiance.
I don't want to be on camera.
Okay.
I don't think we should be engaging it.
It's fine. It hasn't done anything. It's not really being too, like, creepy or anything. It just does. So, we've been playing peekaboo. Peekaboo!
A second later, something steps fully into view. A tall shadow shaped unmistakably like a person moves into the doorway, perfectly outlined yet completely black, as if absorbing the light around it. He gasps and jerks back in the seat before it disappears when the clip ends. There is no sound of footsteps, no breathing, no retreating movement. Whatever was haunting him had finally shown itself clearly. In the third part of Joseph's saga, he starts the video by admitting he might have messed up by provoking whatever is in his home with the last peekaboo clip. He sounds nervous this time, the camera shaking slightly as he stands in the bedroom. He explains that ever since the shadow stepped into view, things in the bathroom have gotten noticeably worse, and he hasn't been able to sleep properly. Then, right as he's talking, the sounds begin.
Okay, guys. I think I fucked up a little bit. You hear that? What the f is that? Charlie, the cat's right here. She doesn't seem to be worried about it.
A slow creaking echoes from inside the bathroom, the unmistakable sound of cabinet doors being tugged or pushed from the inside. Joseph seems very scared, and the noise continues in short bursts, like something is testing them. To prove nothing living could be responsible, he pans the camera down to show his cat sitting curled next to him on the bed, wide awake and staring toward the hallway. Joseph points out that the cat has been with him the entire time, and clearly isn't the one making the noise, and I should add that it's especially since it refuses to go anywhere near the bathroom now. The creaking grows louder for a moment, then stops abruptly, leaving the entire apartment silent again. Joseph knows that he definitely pissed the spirit off, and he's starting to think filming was a mistake. Whatever had revealed itself in the doorway last time now seemed to be actively moving things in the bathroom, and the tension in the air made it clear this haunting was far from over. In the final part of Joseph's saga, he decides he's had enough. The sleepless nights, the shadow figures, the noises from the bathroom, all of it had pushed him to the edge. And this time, he stands directly in the doorway, holding the camera out in front of him. His voice is shaky, but he tries to sound firm as he tells the spirit that it needs to leave, saying they are done with its bull and that it is no longer welcome in his home. He barely finishes the sentence when everything shifts for the worse.
All right. I appreciate all the well wishes. I haven't been getting great sleep lately. I don't know if it's because of this, but I'm going to take your advice. It's been slamming the doors again this morning. I'm just going to tell it to get the f*** out of here. Okay? All right, this is it. You are not welcome here. You need to leave. We are done with your bullshit. We are not going to take it anymore, okay? You need to get the f*** out. No, this is bullshit.
A deep, guttural growl erupts from inside the dark bathroom, low enough to rattle the doorframe, and before he can even process what he heard, the bathroom door slams shut with terrifying force right in front of him. Joseph jumps back, swearing under his breath, but still forces himself to grab the handle and push the door open again. Inside, the bathroom is completely empty. No movement, no noise, nothing that could have caused the growl or the slam. The tension in his voice is obvious as he steps all the way in, panning around the room to prove there is no one hiding. The air feels heavier than before, and he admits on camera that he and his cat have been avoiding this room altogether. After this final encounter, Joseph says they're both seriously considering moving out. Whatever is in that bathroom made it clear it wasn't going anywhere, and now it wasn't afraid to show its anger.